So this is a question that I was definitely hoping would come up. The question about what it was that happened there with the EHT last year, and that time that we actually had a progressive revenue source to build affordable housing for about 4 weeks until the current city council decided not to do that anymore. I think that the um, just to come down on a yes or no part of this. I supported the EHT, wrote an article about it in my capacity as a journalist um, titled The Class Warfare of the Seattle Business Community, that sort of, you know, tried to put in context the fact that all around the country we've seen, and for the last 30 years, we've seen a war on exactly these kinds of progressive revenue sources, with major corporations like Amazon essentially holding construction projects or holding cities hostage with construction projects and the promise of jobs um, in exchange for those cities not enacting this kind of revenue. The Seattle example is really instructive because we passed the EHT, then repealed it when the city council got scared because they thought that members of the city council, I should say, were scared at the prospect of Amazon pulling a construction tower and the union jobs that came with it. And then ended up, of course, in the last month or so, pulling the construction project anyway, so that we're in a situation currently where not only do we not have that construction project, the jobs that would have come with it, we also don't have the revenue that we didn't muster the political will to enact with the EHT. So I think that reinstating something like the EHT, making a better political case for it, not caving to the immense media pressure that I think was applied vis-a-vis certain right-wing Seattle satellite groups in Seattle on our local media. I think, you know, that's something that council members have to be really, really cognizant of and wary of. And I'm sure, as all of us have sort of seen on the campaign trail, especially those of us as young candidates, are understanding that there's a tremendous amount of media pressure to not, a tremendous amount of pressure in the media, and a lot of pressure that's applied to get us to back off of certain positions that are going to create a more holistic city for us all. So I think it starts with moral fiber and integrity, number one. I think the second part of it, as far as holding businesses accountable, is a function of that, and knowing, going into a lot of these conversations, that sort of the consensus logic that many of us had, that many progressives even had for the last 30 years, in saying that, you know, there's some kind of consensus that can be hammered out between business and labor. That has proven to be increasingly fragile, I think, over the last half a dozen years or so in Seattle, as big business has been emboldened to take and ask for more and more and more and give back less and less and less, so that, you know, when I look at what a city like New York was able to accomplish as far as kicking Amazon's second headquarters out, I look with great envy in thinking about what it would look like to have leadership here that would similarly hold businesses accountable. And so I think a lot of that has to do with how we talk about these issues, and drawing really, really clear links between our lack of corporate taxation in the city and in the state, and the declining fortunes of working people here. That case has to be made over and over again before the public. And I think a lot of this is a media game, and understanding how to talk about these issues so that the narrative is not dominated by sort of this neoliberal logic that we've seen for the last 30 years.